Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we successfully able to set our time, right? Which is totally fine. Now in this video I want to store this data. Here I want to store this data and also I want to get all the data from our local storage. For the local storage I have already discussed about that things with you. If you go to that inspect and with the inspect, if you go to that application, so that is the application and that is our local storage. Okay, here I want to save all that item and also I want to get all that item. So if you want to set it or get it, as I told you before, we have to get it with the object, right? Let's do that work. For doing this, from here I want to pass which data. I want to pass the type. That will be one of the description, that is our value, and then there is our time, right? I have already get everything. If you go to our code into this position, like right now, that is everything, right? There is our time and there is our all that our value, right? All that our value I have already get it as a type, description, value, and also there is another one as a time, right? Now I want to do, that is our total add to cart reset form. I want to do that is all that our function, that is our add item function, and then that is our reset form, right? So that is our reset form. So into this function, that is I have already created all that our item, right? I have already get that things in our add item. So into this item area I want to declare one of the function. I want to actually load this function. Okay, I want to create another function name as a add item. Okay, item to local storage. Okay, so this type of another function now I want to create, and into this area here we have to pass all that our things, like here we have to pass that as a type. I make it as a, sorry, here I want to pass that into the parameter area. I want to pass that as a type. I want to pass that as a description, right? Into the description, and also I want to pass that value. I take it as a value, and also I want to pass that as a time. Okay, I make it as a time. Great, perfect. So now I want to call this function. Okay, here there is a reset form. So after that reset form, here I want to create another function. That will be as a function, and our function name will be as a add item to local storage. Okay, so that will be our function, and into this function area here also you have to pass all that parameter as a type, description, value, and then time. I simply pass it. Okay friend, so for the first time, if there have any item, okay, if there have any item, I want to get this item. So if you want to get this item, I take one of the variable as a items. Okay, items. Great. And then I want to do from the local storage, if you want to get any data, what exactly you have to do, that will be as a get item method, right? So here with this we can actually get it. I want to get that as an item. Okay, items. So I want to get these items. So if you want to get this item here, also when you get it, as I told you before, when you insert it, then that will be as a JSON as a first, remember? So now I want to put another condition here, that is our if condition, and into this if condition area here, that will be when it should be get any item. Okay, when it should be get any item, then I want to take it with this other item. So this item formatted, I have to change it, right? That will be as a JSON and JSON parse, right? So that is our JSON parse. So with this JSON parse method here, I want to convert it all that our object array data. I want to convert it with the JSON parse, and I take the things with this variable. Great. And else it should be display on the empty array. Okay, that means empty object it should be displayed. So with these items, and this item will be one of the empty object. Okay, I simply make it as an empty object. Great. And now if you want to push it, that means if you want to pass all that our data, here we have to pass that with the array object, right? So for the reasons I want to do with these items, if you want to add one of the array data, then that will be one of the push method, right? So that is a push method, and into this push method area here I want to pass all that our object data, like I take it as a description, and our description will be as a description. Okay, so here I simply pass that our description all the data, and that means I have already you can see there is an array push. Okay, so with this array push I want to pass that all that our item, that means object all the data, and I want to take another one as a same as a time. Our time will be as a time. I simply loaded this time, and then the type. Okay, type will be our type. Okay, you can actually use that only one because that is our same name. our property and then variable name, when that will be as the same as I told you before, when that our property and then value will be the same, then we don't need to pass we don't need to do that things like that way. Only one will be enough. Okay, if you make it only one name, then that will be perfect. Okay, better I want to make it as the easy part. I want to clean. I have already discussed about that things into the fundamental. I hope you understand this part. Here I simply add that our array push, and here I pass the description, time, type, and then value. Or rather than you can also make it into the same line, then that will be very easy. Better I make it into the same line. Okay, now that is pretty much great. So into this position, now I want to actually insert our this object array data. Now I want to add all that our array object data, right? I want to add all that our array object data in our local storage. So into this local storage, if you want to add this data, then also what exactly you have to do, that will be as a set method, and also here we have to change it. Remember, array we have to change it with the JSON format as a JSON string file. So I want to do here into the local storage and then the set item, right? With this set item method, we insert this data, so that will be as a set item, and then I want to pass all that our key I have already take everything into the items, right? So that is our items, and here also we have to change this data. So here we have to make it as a JSON and then stringify, right? So that is a JSON stringify. JSON stringify will be our that item data. So here I simply pass this data. So now that should be stored this data in our local storage. Okay, so here I have already called this method in our, that is our add item method area. I have already declared this method, and here that is actually our function. Great. Now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go, now I want to refresh it fast. And now I want to add one of the item. I make it as a Aryan again, and then I put some of the value as a 50. Now click as a add. You can see it's now successfully add this item. If you go, you can see that is actually our all that item. So that is all that our array object data. I hope friend you get some of the idea, and that is our 0 index. You can see that is our description as Aryan. It successfully get that time, our type as a plus type, and then value I have added as a 50. For the reason it's now display as a 50. Great. And if you want to add another one, like I add as a plus, I make it as a Kazi, and then I pass another value as a 44. Okay, and after that I click as a submit. Yes, you can see now that is our another one is now successfully added as a 0 index and then the 1 index. Okay, great. So for better understanding, I want to do like this part. Okay, this part I want to take it with our another function. Better here I want to declare another function. I name that as a function. I name it as a get items, because we have to also get it, right? Better I want to make it as a get items from local storage. Okay, I want to create this type of another function, and into this function area here I want to take it. I simply cut it from to this position. Okay, I cut it from to this position, and here I want to paste it. So here if you want to load it in here, then what exactly you have to do? Simple, I want to return it. Okay, that means that will be return or these items. I simply return this item from to this area, and here now I want to get this method as a the get item from local storage. So I want to load it in here. Okay, if you want to load it, and then I take one of the variable as a let, and I just name it as a items. Okay, I name it as items, and then I want to do into this items area here I want to run this method as a get item from local storage. I simply call this method. Okay, now that should be executed and everything will be just like that same before. So if you have any query like why I'm actually using these functions, I have already discussed about that things with you. When you actually create one of the function, all that functions materials, if you want to access it, only you have to call it, right? You can see I'm simply call it. So if you want to add this time work multiple time, because here we need to add this time multiple times, so then we have to actually write down this code a lot of the time. For the reasons right now when that will be needed, when I want to get any item, then I simply will call this method. For the reasons here I make that total part into one of the functions area. Okay, so now everything is same. If you now click as a save all, and now if you refresh it, Now you can see after that refresh, our total data is not available in here, but that is actually visible in our local storage. As I told you before, local storage data will be saved, right? Here you can see our both of this data is in here. Now I want to get this data. I want to get all that our object array data, and here I want to visible it in our this item area. Okay, how can do that work? But I want to continue this process in our next video. I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.